All right, hello. Making a recording of how to use the snippet tool and to graph these functions. So when you open your assignment and your assignment is graphing functions, this is the notes, video and notes. So this won't be the same as yours. Yours will be a little bit different, but go ahead and make a copy. When you make a copy, it's going to pull up your own. This is a presentation video with 8 slides of different things. So you're going to want to pull up your Desmos, move that up so you can see that. So I'm going to add a new one, desmos.com. Under your math tools and Desmos are your different calculators. They added the matrix calculator, which is good, but we're using the graphing calculator right now. So you got your graphing calculator, and our first copy, f of x equals 3x plus 2. So make sure you're including the f of x, and that'll be important later for what we're doing, equals 3x plus 2. And it's just a basic linear function. There's your line. And what I want you to do is at the bottom of your screen, there is a search window. When you click that search window, type in snip, and it will bring up, that's probably enough where you can type in snipping. There's this snipping tool. And that snipping tool, hopefully you can see that, will pull up this box up in the top part. And every time after you graph, you're going to want to drag this over a little bit. There you go. So if your snipping tool goes away at the bottom of your screen, it should be there. So click on the new, and then this little X will, you can just click and drag so that you get that function. So now, still down at the bottom, you have cut and copied that picture. So go back to your, gotta keep moving this, go back to here to your presentation, and on your first slide, right click, paste, and it will paste in, or you can do Control V for paste, or File, paste, however you like to paste, and it will paste in the picture you just made of the graph. So make sure your picture includes the function itself and the important parts of the graph, the intercepts, any maximum, minimum, stuff like that. That's it. So I'm going to go to the second one. It's an absolute value function. I know that because it has the absolute value marks. So when I come over to Desmos, get rid of the old ones. F of x equals, and it's negative 1/2. So I'm going to do negative 1 divided by 2, and it will automatically make that fraction when you do divided by. In Desmos, you can drag, there's a keyboard down here. So to start your absolute value function, it's right here on the keyboard. So you want the absolute value of x minus 3 back to in the absolute value, and then it was minus 2 on the outside, minus 2. Before you take a picture of this, shrink your keyboard. You can click and drag your graph so that the important parts are in your graph. Right? At the bottom of my screen, I'm going to go back to my snipping tool. I'm going to click New again. Then click and drag so that your taken a picture of the function and the graph, go back to your presentation slides and paste in that graph. And as long as your paste doesn't cover up your function, so I can see the functions match, you can leave it down in the corner wherever you want to put it. And that's an absolute value function. You know an absolute value function because it makes that V shape. All right, next one's quadratic. I know it's quadratic because it has the squared term, and it's the highest. So it could have been written as ax squared plus bx plus c. This is in vertex form, doesn't matter. If it's squared, it's quadratic. And you also know it's quadratic because when you graph it, and that was parenthesis x plus 2 in parenthesis, you can get your power down here. A squared will give you a second power. Or you can do shift 6 and it'll raise that exponent to the second power, minus 5. Oh, and I forgot, so I'm going to go back. F of x equals. So I want to see that f of x equals every time. Again, get rid of your keyboard. Go back to your snipping tool. Do new. Cut out what you want to see. Back to your Google Slides. Paste that one in. All right, and we know it's quadratic because it makes the U shape instead of the V shape. All right, number 4 is a polynomial function. Polynomial functions are functions that have terms bigger than x squared, like x to the third or an x to the fourth, so forth. So there's your polynomial function. Go over to my Desmos, clear out the old one. F of x equals, and it was 1/2. So again, you can type the whole thing on this keyboard with your mouse if you like. So that would be 1 divided by 2. There's your 1/2. Use your arrow to get out of the fraction. X, you can use the X right here. X, here's your exponent button if it's an exponent other than 2. So x to the third. Use my arrow again. Minus 3x squared minus 2x plus 12. Get rid of that keyboard. So I can't really see all of this function. So over here, move the screen, over in Desmos, there are these minus. We'll shrink it down so you can see. So now I can see the whole thing. Go to your snipping tool. Again, do a new one. Cut out your function and your graph. Back to your presentation and paste. If you don't like the snipping tool, you could do a screen capture and paste that in there also. I think that would work. Just make sure you size it so that I can see the function. All right. So exponential equations are equations where the x, or the variable, is actually part of an exponent. Now, the way I've written it is correct, but you can't type it in that way in Desmos. So when you go to Desmos for this exponent, it is f of x. I'm going to have to use my keyboard for the f of x equals. And then it's 2 to the, you can do shift 6 or the exponent tool. But if you do x minus 3, that minus 3 goes out of the exponent, and you don't want it to. So what you need to do, erase all that. You need to use parentheses to keep everything in the exponent. So x minus 3 in parentheses, now that all stays up where you want it to. Use your arrow to get out now, plus 4. Get rid of that. Slow down a little bit. There's your exponential function. Slow to begin with and then grows really fast. Snipping tool, new, and cut that one out. Take a picture of it and paste it in your, all right. Number 6 is a square root function. Of course, you know it's a square root function because it has the square root of and the variables inside the square root. So on Desmos, f of x equals, and again on your keyboard, you have the 2. Your square root is down here, square root of, and now whatever you type, x minus 4, everything will stay under the square root until you arrow out of the square root, minus 3. So there's your square root function. You can tell they're square root functions because they have an actual starting point and go over that curve. Square root function, move, click and drag so that you see the function in the picture. Go back to your snipping tool, do a new one, cut out your function and paste it. There we go. All right, number 7, that's called a rational function. Rational numbers are numbers that can be written as fractions. So a rational function has a fraction where the variable is in the denominator. So it doesn't just have a fraction, but the variable has to be as part of the denominator of the fraction. On Desmos, you would type f of x equals 1 divided by, we'll get to that fraction. Whatever you type will stay in the denominator until you use your arrow to get out of the denominator, and then plus 2. Recenter that so you see the important parts. If you remember, rational functions have asymptotes. Go back to your snipping tool, do a new one. Back to your presentation or your slides and paste it in. That's that easy. All right, last one is called a logarithmic function. It's important that you notice that the log function, which is easy to tell because it has the word log, but this one actually has a base. If there's no number there, it's a base 10 log, but this is base 2. So for Desmos, that one, f of x equals, your log functions are over here under functions. And it's under miscellaneous. There's 2 of them. There's your base 10 function if it doesn't have a little number, or if it does have a different base, there's log with base a. So when you click that log base a, it's going to start right where you need to put the base in. So this is a base 2. Arrow over to get inside the parentheses. X minus 1 inside the parentheses. In that parenthesis. And then plus 4. That's how you type that function. Get rid of the keyboard. There's your log function. And back to your tool. Do a new. Cut and paste. Highlight the area you want to cut out. Back to your presentation and paste it. Okay, so hopefully you made it to this far. All right, so we are all done graphing, or you're all done graphing. You've answered what type each one is. You've cut and pasted the graph. So now you want to share your Google Slides back with me. So over here, click on the share button. And it's really important. You're going to get this link, but if this doesn't say anyone on the internet with this link can view, then you need to change that. So you have options. If it's restricted, that means I won't be able to see it. Mine, I could choose just so Charlotte Mecklenburg school employees see it, and then anyone with the link. So do anyone with the link before you copy the link. So you're going to copy the link right here, and you're done. Go back to your Canvas. So on Canvas, here's your graphing functions assignment. Submit assignment. Come down here and do the website URL, and then just paste that link into it. And that's all you have to do. So submit that assignment. It'll give you your confetti, and then I should be able to see it. And that's it. Good luck. Have a great day.